The webinar is scheduled for 2 hours to provide you with an understanding of your software management capabilities, processing a simple tax return, discussing our new enhancements for tax season 2016, and reviewing some of our most frequently asked questions. I will be using our 2015 TSG tax demo software to provide you with some examples of the reporting functions, ways to manage your tax office, and completing a tax return. Then I will use the 2016 TSG software that is available now to discuss our latest enhancements to the software. Now, in the demonstration of our new software, there are a couple of enhancements that I will explain. However, I might not be able to show you the uh, complete feature enhancement since some of our printing capabilities are not available at this moment. In addition, also the IRS probably will not be accepting, electronic returns until the second or maybe third week of tax season, as they normally do, right? During the beginning of tax season. So let's go ahead and get started. Today's objective is we are going to do a TSG software overview. We're going to review the WIP screen, the work in progress screen. We're also going to review the reporting capabilities, and we're going to process a simple tax return. Now, all this is going to be done on our demo version of 2015. Then we're going to discuss what's new for 2016. And some of these features are going to be around Live Link, and I'll go into detail about what that means. We're also going to talk about improved usability and some of our enhanced security features. And then afterwards, we're going to go to our frequently asked questions. The first area I want to talk about is managing your business. So we're going to talk about the menu bar, which is on this top area right here. I have a kind of screen, I have a screenshot for us. Oops, sorry. And I am actually going to go through it and show you guys on the demo version of the software. We're going to talk about building your database, developing the database in the very beginning when you are set up with your software. We're also going to talk about entering the preparer information, capturing preparer signatures. We're going to talk about setup utilities, the billing setup, office setup, and some of the reports, general reports, and also more customized, what we call the extended reports. So let me go ahead and just escape out of this. And what I want to do is I want to go over to our 2015 demo version of our software. The reason I'm using this one is because when it comes to reporting, I need to have some information on here, right? So I can show you some of the reporting features that we have. Let's take a look at this area here under the menu bar. We have the database, we have setup, utility, reports, and commands, okay? And as you notice, each one of them has a drop-down that you can select. I won't go into detail on every single one of them, but I do want to show you a couple of them that are going to be important to your business, and you're going to be able to see how you can set up some of the background information on your software. So let's say, for example, under the database one, we're going to go to paid preparers, this third one here. I'm going to click on paid preparers. This box is going to populate, and here's where you can enter the information of your tax preparer. So you're going to enter, for example, their name, last name, the address of their office or your office, and you're going to enter their PTIN information, and you're going to also capture their signature. So let's go ahead and just do an example of one. I'm just going to press enter EDD. Okay, that's my preparer ID. So I'm going to create one. I'm going to press add. When I press add, this pop-up box comes up, and now you can enter all the information of the tax preparer on here. If you notice, there are some asterisks, right, on certain areas, preparer's name, the PTIN, the EIN. Those things must be filled out, or else it will give you an error. On this bottom part here, on the paid preparer signature, this is where you can go with your signature pad, and you can capture the signature. I'm not going to select it now on this one, but you capture the signature, and then you go ahead and have the tax preparer sign their name on this tax return. So basically now going forward, every time that this tax preparer uses their preparer ID code to begin a tax return, They do not have to sign it every time because it's already going to be captured on there. Okay. Let me go ahead and cancel that. Come out of that for a second. Close this. And we're going to go back to database. And now let's go into employers and payers. Okay. Again, this is talking about building your database. So let's go to number 4, employers and payers. I'm going to select, and if you notice, there's already a populated information here. Okay. So this is basically the EIN number and the employer name. So that way, when you are entering a tax return and you are in the area of the W-2, you're going to select this EIN through a select field that I can show you during our demonstration, and automatically it will populate the EIN, the employer name, the address of the information for that EIN. Of course, the amounts won't be in there, but the general information of the company will be there. So this is good when you have, let's say for example, you have a special marketing plan or special promotion going on with Walmart or someone, and you know that you're going to be constantly using their EIN because customers are going to come with their W-2. You can go ahead and create their EIN on here and the employer name, and now what we're going to do is select it from the field. Just makes the job go by faster, right? And especially if you have a new tax preparer in your office, all they have to do is go down to the area to select and then choose the right one. Let's go ahead and close that now. And again, under this database, there's a lot of areas here where you can enter information, okay? Also, under this user status, you go into this last one here. In the user status, you can create status codes. So let's say, for example, you're doing a tax return, and this customer is going to come back to give you an additional W-2, or maybe they're just giving you the general information of the W-2, but you don't have it in hand. You can create a status code with a description to put on their needs a W-2. Or let's say that person says that they went to school, but you want proof of that, and they're going to bring you the 8863. You can create one under the add function, under the add button here, and create the needs 8863 or on hold for the 8863. And then later on, you can also run a report based off the status code on here also. And I will show you on the tax return where you would enter the status code information. Let me go ahead and close this now. We're going to go over under setup, okay? And let's go under login accounts. Under login accounts, okay? And some of the features that I'm reviewing now is because they are our most frequently asked questions. It doesn't mean if you have a question or something you want to ask, please go ahead and under the questions area, please write down your information. And actually, I do have someone already. Let me see if I can kind of read. Okay, people are letting me know that they can't hear me. Okay, now they're saying that there is good now, so I think we're okay with my voice. So I read in the very beginning some people had a hard time hearing me, but I think people are hearing me now better. That's the feedback that I'm getting, that everything is okay now. Okay, so let me go back to this area. So then on this part here, what we can do is that we can create access levels, okay? So as a manager of your business or the owner of the business, you don't want everybody taking a look at everything you have set up in your software, right? You don't want certain people maybe to be able to transmit a return. Maybe you want to have the responsibility only to one person or maybe just to yourself. There's also the ability to delete a return. You don't want everyone having the ability to delete a return. So on here, what you can do is you can create access levels, okay? And you can name the access levels based on how you set up your office. Generally, what we have is normally we have a processor, a preparer, and then we have a quality team. But again, it can be customized to your office. It can be customized to your needs, okay? So you can create access levels to give certain people access to do things and to look at certain things, but then also take off access to things that you don't want your tax preparers to take a look at, especially some financial information. Let me go ahead and close this now. Then we're going to go to the area of, let's go to the area of reports, okay? Under reports, okay, these are general reports that are created for you. They're automatically on here. But you can create, and we'll talk about this later, you can create customizable reports to your office. Let's take a look at the first one here. This is status reports. And I'm just going to select rejected returns. I'm going to select it. This pop-up, this is going to come up. And then there's ways to sort it. You can sort it here by taxpayer social, taxpayer last name, reject, filing status, And you can also enter information on the date that you want to run the report, okay? If you're an office, with does, maybe 100 or 300, maybe you don't need to do that. But if you're a large office in the thousands, then maybe you want to select a date range so that way it won't take as much time to run the report. Either way, it's very quick. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to do quick view. And again, there was only one reject on here, okay? That was the report that we pulled up, and it gives you the social, the last name. This is great also because you can print this report and have someone in your office or maybe the tax preparer call the clients regarding the reject so that way you can correct it. Let's go ahead and close this now. And let me just take a look at other questions on here, okay? All right. Please make sure if you're not able to hear me, because the majority of the team can't hear me, please log out and go back into the webinar. We do have a couple of folks sometimes that have better luck using their cell phone versus doing the webinar from their actual computer or PC. So please take a look at that. Thank you. Let's go under reports again. Let's go under fee payments. Under this area in the fee payments, you can run a variety of reports to show you the payments that have been collected by date, payments that are still that have not, or payments or fees that still have not been collected. So there's a variety of ways that you can look up the information under payments. I'm not going to select every single one of them, but please go ahead and go through a lot of these reports once your office starts generating returns, so you can take a look at the different ways that you can manage and take a look at your business. Now, the next area that I want to talk about is I want to talk about our WIP screen, okay? So our work in progress screen. So on this screen, we are going to basically the work in progress screen. It's a home page, okay? It's a landing page to basically know what is happening with your business real time and without you having to run a report to take a look at it. So these are the type of things that you want in front of you at all times. So it provides you quick access to the TSG software, especially for the most useful functions, like for example, to start a return, to take a look at maybe the checks that are ready. And we're going to discuss this when we review the WIP screen. You can also apply program updates on this screen. You can transmit tax returns to the IRS, and then you can access some of the frequently used reports. Again, it basically takes a look at your business at a glance, okay? And it also keeps account of your tax returns, your checks, and any rejected returns that you have that you've sent to the IRS, and now they're sending it back because there's an issue or a problem. Now, there are 6 categories of the WIP screen. We have tax returns, the printing queue, and actually I'm just going to go to this next slide here. And here, basically, we're going to go over it on the software, where we're going to talk about this area, the tax returns, the printing queue. We have our other items. We have our transmit queue. We have our exceptions and rejections. And we also have our quick reports. Now, let me go into the software. And I'm just going to, whenever you're in a screen and you're in an area and you're trying to get back to the WIP screen or the work in progress screen, just go to the menu bar up here and you press WIP, this button, and when you select it, now you're in your work in progress screen, which is the one that we were originally at when I was showing you all the information about reporting and setting up your preparers, okay? So under this area here of work in progress, we'll talk about tax returns. So this first one here says select the tax return. If you notice, if you scroll all the way to the right, there's a number 24 on there. And what that means is that you have 24 returns that are inside inside your software. So if we select the first one, okay, select the return, and we're just going to press go, all 24 returns that were listed on there are going to show up here on the screen, okay? We're going to go right back to the WIP, and now we're going to go to the status summary list. So we click on the status summary list, and basically what this does is this pop-up box comes up, and it shows you the status of each one of the 24 returns that you have on here. So here we'll show you that 11 of them have been acknowledged by the IRS. There is one that's ready to have a check printed in your office if you have the banking option available to your clients. Pro forma returns are the returns that are imported from your prior software. EF returns are returns that are in the system but have not been transmitted, so there's no reject code, it's just there in the system. The ones refused by Central Site, to be honest with you, it doesn't happen very often. This is the demo version, so it's giving you a number 3. But it's an exception. It shouldn't happen a lot. Then we have rejected returns from the IRS, and then the ones that say completed. And you can actually modify these codes under the setup function over here, and you can add additional codes on here. These are just the normal everyday ones that are used, but you can definitely modify this and add more as you see the need for your business. I'm going to go ahead and close this here now. And now we're going to go into the management dashboard. So I'm going to click inside of it. It's going to take you to a new screen, okay, of your software. And you can notice on here now you have drop downs. You have dashboard type, and you can select under here group summary, user summary, daily activity, financial totals, a variety of ways that you can look at information and look at your business and where it stands. There's also area where you can decide by group, okay? And here on group, if I'm not mistaken, this is where you can choose to look by site, okay? So group, you're able to select it there. And then the start and end, you can select a certain time frame that you want to take a look at, okay? Let me just continue to look at my chat function here. Okay, you can see okay. All right, I'll continue on. So let's look at dashboard type, and we'll look at the first one, and let's choose daily activity, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and leave the start and end date the way it is. No big deal. I'm going to press go. And basically now what this does is that it gives you a breakdown by day of how many tax returns were completed. So again, this is a demo version, but on 4/9/17 completed, on 4/10/1, etc. You guys can read the numbers. And then down here in this area where it says prepare, this has a 001 and 002. But remember, this is the demo version. Normally you would have the ID of the tax preparer on this, so maybe the first 3 letters of their name or their full name, so that way you can take a look at each preparer and how they are performing. Okay, so you'll be able to see that this person did 11 returns and this one here did 6. Okay, if we go down also to financial totals, and on this part here, remember when we were talking about access levels? On this part here, especially when it comes to financial totals, the next tab I'm going to show you, on here with access levels, you can have where only you, yourself, the manager or the administrator has access to take a look at the financial totals, and you don't want anyone else in your office to be able to run reports. So there's a way to do that on the access levels I was showing you before, and you can give them access to things if you want them to see. So for financial totals, I'm going to go ahead and press go. And if we look on the financial totals, we have a date, the number, okay, and also gives you the expected amount, collected, and balance, okay. The expected amount means that this person everybody on this day on the 17th used a bank product. So this is what you expect to receive, and if you would have collected anything, it would have been shown. It would have shown on this part here, and the difference of the balance would have been on this part here as well. And then towards the bottom, under the preparer side, you can also check to see who is the preparer and how much they have basically earned or how much they have generated in profit and money. So this gives you some details about the dashboard. And again, you can play with all these statuses and all these drop downs. There's a variety of ones that you can look through. And then I'm also going to show you a little bit later how to customize your reports. Okay. So let's go ahead now and get out of this area, and we're just going to go back to the WIP. Okay. So we did the management dashboard. Now let's take a look at this one. This is training returns. So excellent for if you have new preparers, or if you are an existing preparer and maybe you want to take a look at how a particular form is going to be done, especially when regards to the 1095A and the 1095B, all the Obamacare updates. There's constant changes, and changes always happen right in the middle of tax season. Well, you can go into this training database, okay, and this won't affect your live returns that you have in the select return. This is just a training, so that way you can take a look and make adjustments or work through maybe new forms or talk to your new preparers so they can practice some problems on there, and it won't affect or impact your numbers under your live database. The next one is you have your printing queue. So checks, registry, and activation. I'm going to click inside of it. It should give me access. Yeah, there we go. So on here, it gives you basically all the checks that need to be printed out. So this one shows you the taxpayer, the social, check date, the amount, all the information that's relative on there. And what you would do is if you offer the bank product, the bank will provide you with checks, blank checks, of course, for you to be able to print your check to your clients. Okay. Now you can also do a test check. So you can do like a test print, and that's on this part here. So you won't make a mistake on a live check that's being provided to you, and you'll be able to actually do a test check, make sure that everything is printed out correctly on the check, and then you'll be able to select it and actually print the check from your office. Okay. If you don't offer bank products, please follow up with your account executive and see how you can incorporate that in your business. Let me go ahead and close this part here. Under tax returns in this area here, I'm not going to lie to you, we don't use that very much. This is the main area that I want you guys to focus on. This needs to be in front of you at all times. If you have checks available to print, that means if you have customers calling you, calling the IRS, and basically just hounding you, right, until that check is available. So always keep an eye on the check registry and activation. The next one under other items, we have software updates, secure email, bulletins, and today's appointments. Okay, so under software updates, if you notice here, it shows the number 33. Now this is the demo version of it. You normally wouldn't have that many updates to complete, especially if you follow our guidance and make sure that you update your software on a frequent basis. And it's done very quickly. You would just go under transmit to central site. I'm kind of jumping over here to transmit queue. You transmit to central site, and then that information, that exchange is going to go through, and any updates that need to happen, all the updates that are on here, it would do that during that exchange. And it happens very quickly. I mean, we're talking about a couple of seconds. You won't even notice it. One thing to always keep an eye on and pay attention is, see on this black ribbon here, okay, this is your information bar. So under here, you'll have the user ID, tax year, and then you have version. On this version, okay, with these updates, this version might change depending if a form was changed, a calculation was modified, or a new form was added. So a lot of the frequently asked questions in the very beginning of tax season is, hey, I'm getting this error. It doesn't make sense. I don't know what it is. You can definitely call our support team, but I highly recommend that you make sure that you are on the latest version of the software. And the way that you do that is you press transmit to central site, okay? It's going to take a couple of seconds. If there are any changes or any modifications, it's going to show the number here, maybe a 1 or 2 or whatever the number might be. If that comes up, then press transmit to central site again, okay? And then this will not have anything. It will kind of look like this one here with nothing on it. And then check your version, okay? Because one of the things that our support team is definitely going to follow up with you in that first call or on the calls is what version are you on? And if you say you're on version 32 or 31 or what have you, and say, hey, please transmit and make sure you're on the latest version of 0.035. Okay? So very important. It can really eliminate some additional calls to you or headache or even nervousness, to say, hey, what's going on? This thing is not working. If you transmit to central site, majority of the time, about 96% of the time, you're going to resolve the problem right away. Okay? Then we're going to go over to secure email and bulletins. This is very important as well. You want to keep a tab on this. Basically, any changes, any updates, any modifications that come up, maybe also when the IRS is opening, any bulletins, information that you need to know, like a trending topic that's happening, you'll be able to select inside of that. And let me see if I can actually do that with this one. Yeah, and actually go inside, and it gives me basically all the updates that have occurred or any changes, anything needs to happen. Again, this is the demo version, so you might not have anything really interesting to see right now. Let me go back to the WIP and check on bulletins, right? So here on bulletins, it gives you some updates about us. If we have some things that need to be some technical call, maybe our information has changed or any updates at all. So that way you can kind of look at that and keep yourself abreast of anything new that happens during the beginning of tax season and throughout tax season. Let me go back to the WIP. There's also the functionality of being able to add appointments. Okay, so if I select appointments, this screen is going to pop up, and on here you can set up your appointments for your clients. We'll go under the add, under the menu bar up here, and we'll press add, and then you can put in a subject. Let's say, I don't know, I'm just kind of making it up. Goes personal and business. Let's put it right, business tax return. Okay, you can label it that way, and then you put the name of the person, their address, and the phone number. And if you need to make any notes, and you can also schedule the date, and also the time. Okay. I'm not going to do it on this one. I'm just going to press cancel. And then when you look at all your appointments by date, of course on here I don't have any because again this is the demo version. All your appointments will be listed on here. Okay. So we'll go back to the WIP. Okay. And this basically is the other items section. Okay. Then we're going to go over to transmit to queue. I'm just going to bring this area down. Under transmit to central queue, okay, on this part here, any returns that need to be sent over to the IRS or that you have set up to be queued to the IRS, you're going to be able to hit on the transmit central site and it will send the information over. And also on any updates that need to be completed, you'll have to do that as well. Okay. Under federal rejects, any rejects that came back from the IRS, maybe an error with, the name, the social, etc. I think, most of you guys know some of these errors. You'll be able to click inside of it. I'm just going to click inside of that one there, and it'll show me the tax return that has been rejected, and I'll be able to go inside of it and review it and change it. Let me go back to the WIP. And under quick reports, under this one here, basically this one is an area where you can customize. So these are general reports that we have on here. But what we can do is that you can create reports that are important to you. Let's say you want to focus on, everybody that has, I don't know, an 8863 or a Schedule C or something like that because you want to keep an eye on it. Well, you can add, I'll show you how to create the report. You create the report and you can create it so it can show up on your quick reports. So that when it's available on here, and all you have to do is click inside of it, and you'll be able to look at the report. So again, it's looking at the customized, report, but looking at it at a glance without having to do and select all the fields that you want to take a look at every time that you want to see the report. And again, when we go into a tax return, you're going to see about 98% of the fields that you enter in the software, you're going to be able to actually generate a report from it. Okay. So that concludes the part of the work in progress. Let me just, again, take a look back at my questions on here. Okay, gotcha. I think we're clear. I'm just kind of reviewing just to make sure. I think the only thing I have on here is the information about not being able to hear me earlier, but I think most people can hear me now or have a solution for it. All right, okay. So now let's go back to my presentation on here. So we talked about the work in progress screen, okay? The next one that I want to talk about is your standard, we talked about standard reports already. That was the first part that we covered. Let's talk about extended reports, okay? So with extended reports, a little bit of kind of what I mentioned before, you're going to be able to create unique reports that are not available under the standard reporting functionality. You're going to search for specific customers, maybe using detailed search filters that are important to you. You're also going to be able to send a mass text for customers that appear on this detailed report. And another great feature is also you're going to be able to export the report to Microsoft Excel. Okay, so let's go to the area of extended report. I'm just going to go right back again to the software. And then we're going to go, and when you're in the WIP screen, the work in progress screen, you're going to look for the extended button. You notice it's not up here. So what you need to do is go under lookup. When you go under lookup, it changes the menu bar here, and now you have the extended function that you have on here. So I'm going to select the select the extended, and now this pop-up comes up. And now on here, you basically have search field criteria. So now you can go on here and actually select the information that you want to see that is relevant to what you're looking for, or maybe what you want to focus on a daily basis. So let's say, for example, I'm just going to kind of put anything on here. Account number, let's see, balance due. Maybe you want to see the taxpayer name, last name, first name. Again, I'm just kind of randomly kind of going through this. And you select the information, and then you press OK. And then it'll populate the report. Again, mine doesn't look that great because I just kind of selected anything. But whatever you select on that search criteria, you're going to be able to select it on. You'll be able to take a look at the report on there. And let's say you pulled the report and you looked at reports that have the checks ready. Like everybody, that the check is available. You already printed it out. Or maybe you're looking at people that the 8863, or more importantly, the 1095A, let's say they haven't received it. I'm sure you guys experienced a lot of that last year where they didn't get the 1095A, they're waiting for it, and you kind of have to place their tax return on hold, right, until they bring that 1095A. Well, you'll be able to run a report, okay, on everybody that's has a 1095A or should have one. And you can run the report and then just go to the top area here in the menu bar, press send text, okay, and this is going to send a message to all the clients that you have under this report and send the information like, hey, I'm calling from, TSD services. We're still waiting for your 1095A, whatever kind of wording you want to put on there. And you do have 160 characters max that you can use on that, okay? But in our experience, that's more than enough to get the message across to your client. So let's go ahead and press cancel on this. We're going to go right back to the WIP screen. Okay, we're going to go back to lookup. And this is to show you again how you would go into, looking for the extended report. So you go under lookup, extended, and then this area pops up here, and then you choose the fields that you want to enter. Okay, I'm just going to close out of that. And again, I'm just kind of periodically checking these questions or comments on here. So I think we're okay right now. So I'm just going to continue and move on. Under this next area here, under the management dashboard, we talked about that already, where you can actually look based for user summary, your site ID. You can also take a look by preparer, okay? You can look at how many returns the preparer has done. We discussed that earlier, okay? So this part here that I just covered with you now is basically the management side of the software. Now, there are additional information regards to billing and setting those type of things up. Now, you can definitely follow up with your account executive because we know that we do have EROs on our call, and we also have tax preparers. So we are cautious and we are aware that maybe you want to keep that to a one-on-one with your account executive and maybe someone from our IT team. But we can definitely help you out with any setup that you need in the anything regarding the setup of your network or any kind of billing information that you need on your software. Okay, so please follow up with your account executive if there's something else that you want to cover from a management or managing a business perspective. Now, on the next one here, we're going to go over, and now we're going to go into basically, I want to practice a tax return, okay? So we're going to go back into our demo, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and start a tax return. Let's say we're back into the WIP screen, okay? If you're here in this area, and most of the time, most tax preparers are always going to work in the screen that I'm going to show you now. You're going to go into select a return, or you could choose add new with this menu bar here. And I'll go ahead and just do that actually. I'll press add new. You'll notice now my screen has completely changed. We're no longer in the work in progress screen. And this is now where the tax preparer is going to be working 98 or 100% of the time, okay? So under this part here, you would enter the social security number of the client. So I'm just going to go ahead and make it up. And then 263635957. I'm going to press OK. When I press OK, now the screen is going to populate. This is my client data field. And on the left-hand side here, we have our form screen. We have a general, and then we have the federal, okay, where you're going to be entering information in regards to their income, okay? So under the client data, we'll talk in detail a little bit about some of these. And then on this one, the federal zero, what you're going to see as we enter information, as we add additional forms, that forms tree is going to become longer and larger depending on the amount of information that gets entered on this taxpayer's information. But let's focus on this area here. We already entered the social security number. So now it took me automatically to the date of birth. I'm just going to put in any date of birth on there. All I did was I press enter, then it takes me to the next field, and then I'm going to write, let's do TSD audio. And all I'm doing is tabbing over. And one thing to always keep in mind is in this light greenish blue area, this is where you can type information. This is where you can enter information from the client. Wherever you see a gray area, that is an automatic calculation that's happening in the back end. So like one of my peers likes to say, gray, stay away. Okay, there's no need to touch it. Okay, so let's focus on the areas that you can enter information on. So then we're going to go down to occupation. In the occupation, okay, if we go down to this indicator bar down here, we have an area where it says choices. So if you click on choices, you're going to see this pop-up box comes up, and now you have a choice of occupation, okay, that you can enter on there. Now this is a growing database, so these are not the only occupation, obviously, right, that you can have in the world, but these are ones that you have used before. So if there's one you use before, you can just kind of go into choices and select it on here, okay? Or if you wanted to, you could just write MA. Of course, it's not going to do it for me now. MA, and then when you press MA, if you notice, it already automatically puts in manager. So I'm going to press enter, and I'll select manager on there, okay? And then we're going to tab over, and now we're going to put in a phone number. And again, I'm just kind of making this up. Okay. And I always encourage all my clients to just get, or sorry, ask, beg for all the information possible that a client can provide to you, because then when you need to get a hold of them, right, somehow their phone number is disconnected, or you wrote the number wrong, whatever it is. So after you've entered the whole phone number and the word in the cell, now we go down to email. I'm just gonna have to put my email on there. TSG, I suppose, and you can email me at any time, by the way. TSG.com. Great. Then we're going to tab over and we're going to select message. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. For our new EROs and for existing ones, we have a couple of cool new features now in the text message. Then we're going to go ahead and go over and we're going to select filing status. Okay, and all I did was tab over. On the filing status, if you notice, down here in the indicator also gives you a hint of what you need to enter. If you're a seasoned professional, yeah, you'll know exactly what you need to enter. I agree with you. But if you are new and you have that first client in front of you, you might get nervous. If you use this indicator bar down here, wherever you see that it's available, it's going to try to guide you on what's the next step that you can do. So you want to go ahead, let's say on this one, we're just going to press 1 for single. I'm going to press enter, and then now it takes me down to the address information. I'll put in the address on here, and I'm just going to put the address here. And then I'll put an address. Street. And then we're going to tab over to the area of banking. Okay, so if the person is going to have a direct deposit, this is where you enter the banking information. Again, as I select inside the field, I encourage you to train your team to look in this bottom area here in the indicator, because again, it's always going to give you an opportunity to select information versus you typing it in. I think we all would agree, right? If I had a choice of taking a test and writing everything in an essay, a multiple choice, I'd say most of us want to take multiple choice, right? Because it's easier, right? It's lazier. So this makes it easy for you, and it's a faster process for you and a new tax preparer. So we go down to choices on here. Again, if you have several banks and several routing numbers, you would have a larger database, but this is a demo. So let's choose the first one here, Bank of America. You notice it enters the information and the routing number already gets populated in this part here. Then you have the account number that is unique to the client. So I'm just going to make up that number. When I press enter, it's going to ask me for a double entry validation to ensure that I've entered the information correctly. Press OK. And now we can select checkings for savings. So checkings for this client, okay? The client referral, this is another good one to manage and take a look at maybe any advertisement or promotions that you have going on. So in the client referral, okay, we'll go down here to choices again. Under choices, there's several options you can choose on here as how that client maybe came to you. Was it through some kind of advertising? Maybe a regular client. Maybe you did a Facebook ad, a referral. But then what you can do later is you can run a report based on this client referral type, and you can see basically what generated, the clients to come to your office. Was it a paid magazine ad, or was it the free one on Facebook or Instagram or whatever you want to choose? And you can also modify this. You can add additional ones. Maybe you have a special, I don't know, referral program with a particular person that's going to send you clients, and you want to write his name there. You're able to do that, okay? You can select it this way. So let's do advertising. And then on here in description, you can write, the person. You can say, referral, I don't know, I don't know if I spelled that right. But anyway, let's do Tom, okay? Because that's the person that referred us individuals to you. And again, you'll be able to run a report off of that. Let me take a look. I think I have someone asking me a question. Give me 1 second. Yes, so how do you know when an e-file is ready to e-file? Great. We are going to review that, so just give me a couple seconds. We're just going to go over a tax return, and I'll show you exactly how that's done. Thank you for that question, though. On this part here, we're just going to kind of skip that, not necessary. Under this part here, okay, this was new to this year for the 2015, and I'm sure in 2016 we're also going to have, obviously the same questions, even probably more in detail, okay? But here's where you would choose information on how the individual received healthcare coverage the year prior. So we have options where one, A, did they receive it through the employer? So you would select under there if they did. And did they receive it through Medicaid, Medicare? You would select that also. If they received it through to the marketplace and they're going to receive a 1095A, then you select D on that one as well. Okay. So these are the choices, and this is mandatory, must be filled out. We're going to go down. This is assume this person has healthcare coverage with their company. We'll go down to first name under here, and we'll put now the dependent information. So let's put the dependent, and it's and a wife, but I guess I like Tom today. Tom, and then we'll do the last name, and then your birth date for that dependent, 14, and then just gonna enter a social security number. And all I did was just enter information and just enter or tab, and it would just take me to the next field. Here you have relationship. Again, you can go down to the choices area here, which is what most people are going to want to do, right? Go into choices and just select son, let's say, the first one, okay? And then under here, month, also, most people get nervous, like, what's MO, what's MO? Okay, calm down, it's month, it's okay. And you could also go down to this area here under the indicator, and it tells you the number of dependents, the number of months dependent over tax year. So you go under month and just press 12, okay? And then if you notice also, the E and the X populated. If you don't know what they are, you go down to that field and then look down here again, and here it gives you the EIC code. So it gives you eligible, S for student, D disabled, K for kidnap, okay? So this one it knows is eligible based off, the age of the dependent. If you go to the next one, under X, this gives you the status or the indicator that basically this person is eligible for child tax credit. Okay, and it selects the X on there. So all that happened based off the age that you enter for the client. Okay, so now we've entered the client information on the system. So now we're ready to go ahead and enter the next step, which is the most logical one. Now is how to enter the income. So we're going to go to the menu bar up here. Okay, we're going to go to the first one, go Add New. And you click on Add New. Now all the forms got populated. Okay, the first one that populates is the W-2. So let's just go ahead and select W-2. I'm just going to press Enter, or double click it really on that one. And then here we have the information we enter the W-2 information. So we have the employer identification number, and I'm just gonna make up a number. And again, if you remember when we were in the very beginning, we talked about database and setting up your EINs and companies. If you wanted to, and you know this Walmart is the one that you have the special promotion or deal with, you could go inside of this and go down to this area which says choices, and it will give you all the choices of the company that you entered in your database originally. Now, again, remember, it's a growing database. So if you enter one that's brand new, the next time that you do a tax return, when you go into choices, you're going to be able to find it there as well also. So you don't have to do it under this database and manage it all the time. It just makes it, nicer, easier. But on here, let's say you select, we'll select Walmart on here, okay? And then when I select Walmart, it automatically populates the information. We go down to wages, and we're going to enter, just kind of making up the number again. And then we're going to federal tax withheld. There we go. And then I'm going to go to the top and hit refresh. Okay. Now hit refresh. The refund now, it shows now an amount. Okay. We're not done with the return. Now we're going to go to this area up here, and we're going to click on verify. Okay. And what we're going to do on verify is I want us to please focus just on the 8867 because I want to talk about the earned income credit. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and press the 8867. It's going to automatically take me to the screen of the Paid Preparers EIC checklist. And if you notice, it takes me directly also to the area or the field that I have to answer, okay? And also, if you notice, it takes me automatically to the area or the box that I need to enter. So I'm just going to press an X, enter. It's going to take me to the next return error or read date that I need to fix in order for this return to be ready to be e-filed. Then press enter. Press X again, okay? I'm just following the guidance of the software, okay? X enter, X enter, X enter, okay? You should be asking yourself, okay, I'm entering X enter all these things, but you should have had a conversation or an interview already with your taxpayer to ensure that this person is eligible for the EIC. It's a huge fine now, up to $500 if you do not follow or they see that something is wrong in regards to how you qualify someone for the earned income credit. All we're doing here when we do this verifying, we press X enter, is that we're making it easier. All these questions you see on here, we're kind of automatically telling you what you need to do. Now this can be disabled as a function, so that way you can go in and ask everything on here. But when you press X enter on all of these, you need to assume and you need to understand that you are answering the questions because you believe the person is eligible for the earned income credit and you've done all due diligence on your side and whatever paperwork or procedures you have in place to ensure that you are following the guidelines of the IRS and any government guidelines regarding to the earned income credit. Okay? Let me take a look. I want to see if anybody has any questions. Will it allow you to e-file if corrections need to be made? So if corrections need to be made, like the one that I hit verify on, it won't let you. And I'm going to take you exactly to the area where everything is good, and it's going to tell you return. I think it says return successfully queued or completed, and I'm going to go over that with you so I can show exactly what I mean. And then would this session be available? Sorry, hold on. I'm sorry, I'm reviewing all the questions. Will this session be available to review after the session? Absolutely. If you have any questions or something you want to follow up on, I'm going to have my contact information afterwards, or you can definitely follow up with your account executive and we can have a one-on-one to maybe review something in particular that you want to take a look at, okay? So let me go ahead and I'm just going to come out of this tax return. Excuse me. And what I want to do now is I'm going to press go because there is a completed tax return that I have on here, so I can show you how we e-file. Let me give me a second. Yeah, complete them. I think this is the one. Because on here I want to show you the additional features that probably you have already heard of, or maybe you might be new to, or we're going to show you how to use the integrated features that we have within our software. So on this particular client, we've entered all the information, the W-2, all that stuff is fine. I'm going to go to this area here where I press verify. And you notice after everything has been completed, there are no errors, nothing that from the software understanding, your understanding is wrong. It's going to come up like this. It's going to say return verified successfully. At this point, you are ready to sign the tax return with the client. So again, most of you have probably already heard this, but what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the print function up here under the menu bar. Just say okay to this for now. And then this pop-up screen is going to come up, okay? Then we're going to go and we're going to select sign doc. When you press sign doc, now this area is going to populate where you can capture the signature of the taxpayer. So I'm going to go ahead and, again, if you don't know about our signature pad, please follow up with your account executive so they can explain to you and give you some details on it. But this is an integrated signature pad that works with our software. And it is not part of the basic price, but please follow up if you don't have that, if you'd like to get more information about that. So on the signature pad here, I'm going to go ahead and do my fancy doctor signature. Okay. You notice I entered my signature on the signature pad. I'm going to press accept. When I press accept, now a PDF is going to generate or pop up on my screen. And now this is a copy of the tax return. Okay. This is the copy of the tax return. I'm going to go and scroll down to the area where I want to show you wherever a taxpayer's signature was required on that signature pad, it automatically electronically saved it on here. So on the taxpayer signature, there was my signature that I made, my little fancy doctor signature. And in every area that the taxpayer signature is required, the signature is going to show up on there. Okay. Also, remember how we talked about that in the beginning, you can also capture the signature of the tax preparer. Under the area are all the areas here on the 1040 and on the 8879. All the signatures of the taxpayer and the tax preparer are going to be captured already with the signature pad. So you have to sign just once and have all the government and IRS, you're going to be in compliance with everything that needs to be signed in order to electronically file this tax return, okay? So we're going to close this out, okay? Now we've signed the tax return. Now, in regards to the question that you had asked, now you would go onto this area because now you've signed the tax return. You're going to go under Q. When you press Q, now you are basically sending this tax return to a queue for it to be sent out to the IRS. And then, as a matter of fact, I'm just going to close this out so I can show you that real quick. After you press Q, whoever is authorizing your office to transmit the tax return, okay, we're going to WIP on here, and when you hit the transmit to central site, under, all I do is press enter and this pop-up box came out. Under filter, I'll be able to see all the clients that I have that I selected to be transmitted to central site, okay? Now, once you press for queue, you don't need to do this step. This is just an additional step for you. And maybe in your office, you might not be able to queue the central site depending on the access levels that were provided to you. But you will be able to queue it, and then you'll be able to see it here before you send it out. And then all you have to do is hit transmit, and then it'll send the tax return to the IRS, okay? So we'll go ahead and close this. I want to go back to my tax return that I was. There was under demo complete. Here we go. Okay. So now we signed the tax return, but also under the form screen here, under document archive, okay? This is a demo one that I've used over and over again, so you're going to see a lot of copies of this. So but basically, the tax return that I just signed for this date, 12/7, there's going to be attached to this tax return. So, and it also has a timestamp of the date and the time. So if I click inside of it again, basically it's going to pop up the tax return. Now we just saw when we signed under the capture signature, you're going to be able to find all that information on there. Okay, this is great for you to make your office a paperless environment. You don't have to print copies and save them. I think it's 3 years if you need to keep them now. There's no need for that. All that stuff gets electronically saved right here under the document archive. Okay. But also with this, what you can do is we also offer a scanner that is integrated in your software. And again, most of you guys maybe might have heard of it or have used it, but if not, please follow up with your account executive. But what you can do with the scanner is that you can actually take a copy of all the information the client provides to you. So if we go into this one, the 8863, the one that's labeled here, now double click inside of it, and here's a copy of the 8863 that the client gave you. So it's a scanner that you can use and actually scan the information, and it will upload it already to the tax return. Okay. Also, the driver's license can be saved on there. Oh, I have Mr. Bean on there. Okay. And then close that, and we also have a copy of the W-2. Again, great not only for paperless environment, but let's say you receive an audit, or maybe that client received a letter from the IRS saying, hey, you didn't file this or what happened, and now that client comes crying to you. They always blame you no matter what, even if they brought all the forms to you. But maybe you can go in this document archive and say, hey, Mr. So-and-so, what you provided to me that day was the 8863 and the W-2. I didn't have an additional form. But you'll be able to have this as backup. Of course, you're always going to help the client, right? Clients are always right, no matter no matter what, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and close this part here. Okay. The other piece I want to talk to you guys is, remember when we were in the beginning, we talked about when you enter the home phone number to sell. Okay. On here, I asked you guys to always press an X under text message. Okay. Because you guys are under the TSG umbrella, this cell phone carrier, and selecting it here. Okay. You don't have to do this. You don't have to select the carrier and the choice. You don't have to do any of that. Okay. We have a huge advantage of being under our umbrella. So all you have to do is press the select X here, and you don't have to worry about adding any additional information or any additional cost to you at all. But let's say, for example, this client, you want to send them a text message, okay? You will just go to the menu bar up here, send a text message, and then maybe you want to put on here, I don't know if your check is ready, or, whatever it is that you want to say, to your clients, okay? Check is ready, press OK. It's going to ask you, are you sure you want to send this message? Press yes. Give it a second. Yep. And now it says your text message has been sent. Okay. There is a way for you to see what the person has responded back to the text message. And I'm not going to go too detailed into that, because when we start covering what's new for 2016, you're going to be able to see how we've enhanced our software to make it easier in regards to text messaging. Okay. So that basically concludes, and let me just kind of double check myself. Yeah. So we went over let's talk a little bit about the 2D barcode scanner. I'm just going to go back to the area. It's the same scanner that you would use when you go and scan documents, okay? But also on the W-2 on here, I'm sure probably you guys either have noticed or it will be in the future. Hopefully, it'll be mandatory that now everybody who receives a W-2 from their employer, or maybe a K-1, at the end or at the bottom of that paper, there's going to be a barcode. Well, with this scanner, you're going to be able to scan the information, and it's going to automatically populate the EIN, the name of the company, and also the wages and federal taxes and information that needs to be entered in this area here for W-2. Again, great for making sure that information is accurate. The amount of times people have called or there's an error. Is hey, the IRS is sending me a letter because my taxes withheld. It shows that 1,200, but really it was 500. Maybe it was $123. Either way, now the client has to pay money back, right? So that's an issue for you and an error and apology that you have to make. With that 2D barcode scanner, it's going to happen automatically and eliminate human error as much as possible. Okay. Go back to my presentation here. I just want to make sure I covered everything with you guys, okay? The scan and store, okay, is exactly what I had talked about here, okay? So you can scan and store all your information electronically on the system, okay? So let me go ahead and close this part, okay? Close this. And that should cover everything in regards to the overall overview of our TSD software. Now let me take a look. I didn't want to follow up with any questions that we have. I just get a lot of information about having another session after this. Maybe someone has a particular question. Please follow up with your account executive, or I will have my contact information available so I can help you out as much, as much as we can. That's what we're here for. If I don't have the answer, we'll find somebody. We'll find somebody within our team that does. Okay, so no worries. All right. So now that concludes the beginning part. Now let's start talking about what's new, okay? And let me go ahead and make this into a presentation. I think that's better for all of us. So what's new for 2016, okay? Now we're talking about the new software, okay? So on this one, we're going to talk a little bit about LiveLink, and I will explain to you a little bit about what that is. But within LiveLink, we're going to talk about remote signature. We're going to talk about TextLink and some new features on that. We're also going to talk about some updates and enhancements for usability. So we're going to be able to expand some of your database. The client data form has changed a little bit, and you guys are going to take a look at that also. Document archive, I'll show you some new features on that. Our Windows hotkey, okay? And then we also have some enhanced security features in regards to masking our social security number and have additional EIC validation questions that are going to be available that you can add or remove some of these functions. If you think it's too many questions, or please stop asking me all these things, maybe you don't want the software to guide you as much and you want to complete the tax return because you're comfortable and obviously you've had years experience, that is available and we can customize it to your needs, okay? The first one that I want to talk about is remote signature. Now this one is the one where I can't show it to you, okay? I have a couple of screenshots that I can share with you, but this remote signature, it should be live, in production, but until we're able to actually print a tax return and until, we're good to go and we can electronically file, when the IRS opens, we won't be able to actually see it or I can show you. But I can show you a couple of screenshots and explain it to you in theory, okay? So I'm just going to go to the next one. And here, now what we're going to be able to do is when you go and you finish a tax return, okay, and you're done, now you're going to go into the area where you go to print, okay, and now you're ready to sign the tax return. Now we're going to have a new area here under remote sign, okay. So remote signature is going to be used for, let's say you have an example where, I don't know, let's say you have a client that you've done their taxes, for several years, and now they've moved away, and you've always done their tax, and their tax return, they want you to do it. They can email you, fax you, however you get the, receive the information from the client. And then after you complete their tax return, what you want to do is you want to do a remote signature with them, okay? And the remote signature works with a smartphone. So you'll be able to send a message to that client to let them know that they can go ahead and open a document, take a look at their tax return, and if they're okay with it, they can sign it and send you back the signature, okay? And I have another screenshot here. I'm just going to go to the next one, okay? And this next one here, after you select remote signature, okay, it's going to send a link to the client, okay? And in that link, this is more or less what it's going to look like. Please don't quote me. Some of the stuff might be, worded differently or might change a little bit. But this is in theory how it's going to work, okay? And again, it should be live. It should be okay for day one when we're able to electronically file. They're going to get a link like this as a text message to their smartphone. They'll be able to click inside the link, okay? Then when they click inside the link, they're going to get a verification process. Okay, real quick, it's just a one pop-up that's going to come up to them, and we need to verify their last name. Then they're going to have to verify their date of birth, and they're also going to verify the last 4 digits of their social. Okay, that's part of the verification. Again, some of these things might change a little bit. Okay, but this is generally the information that's going to be required. Then we're going to go over to the next one. The client is actually going to be able to capture their signature. Okay, they have to do two things here. They have to actually three things. They have to select that they read the document. They have to sign, and again, this is using a smartphone. Okay, they can go ahead and sign their signature using their finger, and they can go ahead and then press submit. Okay, when they press submit, excuse me, you're going to be able to see on the document archive on the left-hand side, and I'm going to show you that now in a second, you're going to be able to see and click inside of it, and you're going to see this message show up. So this is the initial remote sign that was sent to the client, and after they approve and sign it, they're going to send this information back, and you're going to see a final remote signature on there. Okay, so that's a way for you to validate that it was sent, and the client send it back to you. And on the signature, sorry, on this on the text link, I'm sorry, I think I have these slides backwards. The arrow meant to be here. On the remote signature, you're going to be able to select inside of that so you can see the screen that I just showed you previously. Okay. So again, great feature. I think we've all kind of wanted this, right? I think we have a lot of clients that come to see us, and then they don't have everything, or they're going to come back later. Well, if they completed everything, all you have to do is send the information, the signature for them, and they're good to go. They'll be able to send you the signature, and and make it much easier. The customer doesn't have to come back to see you again in the tax office. Okay. Let me just take a look. I think someone has a quick question. On average, how long does it take to file everything in the system for a client? Well, good question. It depends on your experience. So I've been doing taxes personally, say, for 8 years, and I probably go through it pretty quickly, right? Especially if you have repeat clients, you can go through a tax return very quickly. Maybe 10 minutes. Honestly, it all depends. Or sometimes you do have clients, that have have detailed information. It might take you longer. So, on general, if you are, pretty savvy and you have all the information in front of you with a client, it shouldn't take you longer than 15 minutes to do a tax return. If you're new, maybe a little bit longer, but in general, like I said, for most people, it might take 15 minutes to do a tax return. Again, it depends on your processes, your procedures, and what type of clients you have. Some clients tend to take longer with you, right? Or depending if they are a Schedule C, self-employed individual, versus being someone that, is a W-2 client, okay? Just want to go back to the screen on here, okay? Because I want to make sure that I cover everything what's new. Because on the area of the remote signature and the text link, okay? I'm sorry, on remote signature, I was able to show you some of those screenshots, but again, I can't use it or I can't show you, so it's kind of hard to explain it to you. All I can do is provide you more or less the theory how it's going to be. But on text link, now what we're going to be able to do, and let me go to the 2016 one, okay? And I'm going to click inside of it. This is just a return that I had I did on the new version. Okay. On this one on here, remember how you can go ahead and send a text message to a client. You select send text and write the information. In order for you to get the information or see the response, that a client sent you, you have to go back to the WIP screen, the work in progress screen, and look at some of the outbound or the inbound message that the client sent you back. Well, now, okay, again, it's all in theory because I don't have it here in front of me to show you. Now, if you notice on this area here, on the general field, we have a text link plus message, okay? So you'll be able to go inside of this and double click and be able to see the message or the response the client sent to you without having to go back out of not software, but out of this tax return and go to work in progress to take a look at it. Also, there's also going to be a pop-up feature, okay? So if I send this tax return, if I send this Charlie Sheen, right, gentleman, let's say I sent him a message as a sent text, when he replies back, it's going to be a pop-up in my screen that tells me the response that the client placed on there, okay? And that feature can be disabled, if it bothers everyone or whatever, but I think that's welcome because often we have to go back and check to see if the client, responded back to our text. So excellent and great feature. Let's go back to this area here. Let's talk about also usability. Let's talk about expanding database, okay? When we go to the area here, and I'm just going to close this part here. We're going to go to database. and expand database, if you notice, for some of the folks that again that are return EROs or return tax preparers, now we've added a new one under educational institutions. So if you click inside of it, now you can enter the EIN of a school. Okay, so the information gets added on there. So it's just an additional field in the database where you can add now the schools. The schools was not available before. You can still enter it, but you couldn't build the database off of it if you know particularly say that you have clients that come from Miami-Dade or South Florida University, whatever it is. You can enter the information now into the database. Uh, Also in the document archive, we have increased, and let me just go inside one of these. If you go into document archive, and I don't have anything to scan right now, but I am going to go under import doc. By the way, this is how you would import a document if you don't have one of our scanners. Okay, you can import the document from a regular scanner, and you can choose the file where it's from or what area it's at, and select and import the file that way. But the new enhancement on here is under type. So if you go under type now, before I believe it was only about three: identification, income sources, and items. But now there's actually the availability to put in Form W-2, 1099, 1098-T, mortgage statements, charity, etc. So just additional forms, okay, that you can add as far as a description. Before, what we have to do is if it is a W-2, then you kind of just have to put income resources and just leave it at that, or write the description W-2 on the description name. So again, great feature to just kind of make it easier. Remember we talked about it's much easier to do multiple choice, right? And to have to actually type something in, right? Okay, let's go ahead and close that part there. And let me go back to my area over here. We also have the Windows hotkey, okay? This is, I'm in the training database, so I'm not able to show you, but on this one, the Windows hotkey, what that means is that before, if you want to copy information, okay, what you would do is select on here and then right click. Under right click, you would do copy and paste, and then you can copy and paste information wherever you needed it. Or if you had something in Excel or Word and you want to copy and paste, you would have to go under the function copy and paste to do that. So then, now what you can do is you can use the Control C or Control V to enter information. So now you don't have to go to right click. All you do is Control V and Control C to paste information. So some of you guys must be saying yay, and some of you guys are like, oh, whatever. But that is a big thing if you are used to the Windows hotkey, the Control Copy and Control V, because it makes it much easier versus having to use your mouse and kind of right click and actually choose whether you want to copy or paste information. Okay, so that's a new enhancement that has happened this year. We also have enhanced security, and let me go ahead and I'm going to save this and kind of close out of this. And when we go to the area where we're going to enter a social for a client, if we go under add, now, if you notice, the social security number is being masked. So let's do 258-96-9696, okay? And then go to this one, 258, and this one, I better enter the information correct, right? Before, it was available for you. You could see the number on here, and then a tax preparer would just kind of re-enter the information again. It is a function that you can take off, or you can disable if you'd like, but I think it's a great feature because it ensures that you're looking at the same the same social security number every time, okay? Um, it's a great feature. You can still look at the social security number when you look at it, let's say like this, okay? But steps, little by little, we're going to get there where we can actually mask the social security number the way it's listed here, so that way we can protect the privacy and prevent any identity, or theft or fraud at all within our offices, okay? So that's another feature. There's also additional EIC validation questions. Again, unfortunately, I can't show you that because we need to kind of go through a tax return on this demo version that we have for the 2015 version, and we're not ready for printing, etc., and all those things. But there's just going to be additional questions you can add for EIC. Again, you can disable those things under setup, okay, under this area here. It's under office setup, and there's a lot of several tabs on here. But on authorizations, I think in audits on here, you can select on here. Like for example, let's select earned income credit. If you notice, if you do select all, it's going to ask you to make sure that you follow all these things, and there's actually going to be pop-ups that are going to show up. If you're not interested in that, you don't want to do that, just unselect all, and it won't do that for you when you go to do verify or when you go to do a tax return before you transmit. Okay, so these are some options you have to disable or take on validation. You should, if you want to leave it on there, it's great because it ensures that you're in IRS regulations. But if you're a seasoned professional, you know what you're doing, you don't need the advice, I guess you could say, you can disable some of these functionalities on here. Okay, great. Let me take a look. Let me see if just gonna will allow you to e-file if corrections need to be made. I think I answered that already, but I just want to make sure. Yeah. So before you e-file, it needs to be on the verify successfully. If not, it won't let you electronically send that return. Okay, it has to be completed. And again, will this training be available later? Yes. We can follow up with you. Remote signature, does it work on any mobile device or Android and Apple platform? The answer to that, I believe, is yes. Okay, as long as it's a smartphone, it will work. Okay. Now, it might look different, the screen might look different, but it will work on any smartphone. Is it possible that I might have this PowerPoint sent to me? Yes, I will follow up with you, and I will follow up also with your account executive. And I'm going to have my contact information at the end of everything. And I have your registrations and I have your email addresses, so bear with me, but I will follow up with you. Again, I did through me as the account executive to get you that PowerPoint, okay? So let's go ahead now and basically, we're going to go, and I'm just going to put myself back into this format. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys. Going to present again, okay? So we've discussed all the what's new for 2016, okay? I think this is definitely going to be the trending topic for this year, the remote signature and the text link as far as that pop-up, because it kind of avoids us having to stop what we're doing, come out to work in progress, and check to see what the person responded back to our text message, okay? So we've done that already. Oops, sorry, let me kind of skip to go through all this. We kind of reviewed all this stuff already. I want to get down to the area because now we've covered what's new. But now what I want to do is I want to go over our frequently asked questions. Some of these questions I've already answered already, during my demonstration, but I will still go over them just in case, okay? So the first one was how to send out a mass text to my clients. I think we reviewed that, when you actually run a report, you can run a report on your entire database. You don't have to do it just in a particular, field. You can go ahead and the minute that report gets generated, you're going to be able to go to that top area on the menu bar and press text, and it will send a message to all the individuals that show up in that report that you pulled, okay? How to remove a form from a tax return. Let me go to my demo version of it, and I'm just going to click inside any return here. Excuse me. And if you have a form that you want to take off, if you go here under W2, you have to do is select on the form string, right click, and remove form. Okay. It's going to ask you, you are about to delete the form W2. That is what you want. That's okay. Okay. And that's fine. And you can add additional forms up here. Maybe it wasn't a W2, or maybe it was a 1099 that you wanted to enter. Okay. So that's a way that you can remove the form. The next one is how to select a bank product on a tax return. If we take a look, let me go back to the one that I have completed on here so I can give you a better view of it. Excuse me, okay. So then this was a tax return that was already completed, but what we can do is on here under the 8879, okay, this is a form that needs to be signed by the taxpayer, and yourself. On the e-file signature, on here you can choose the bank product. So you have to choose number 5, okay? Once you choose number 5, okay, and this says tax return is locked. The reason why the tax return is locked is because we already captured a signature and we set this up to be transmitted to Q. So it's letting you know that there shouldn't be any changes made at all, according to the taxpayer and yourself, this tax return was done, okay? In order to unlock it very easily, just go to the return, this area over here, and go down to unlock, and it'll have you, and you can unlock a return, okay? When we go here on the refund and press 5, we're going to go ahead and hit refresh. You notice when we hit refresh, a new form generated under here, and this is a bank application. So we go under here in the bank application, okay? And then we have an area that needs to get filled out. These forms do change throughout the year, because remember, this form is not a form that's mandated by the IRS. This is a bank application form. So every year the bank has new guidelines, new regulations that we need to follow. So every year that form, might change. And also depending on what banking partner you have, that might change as well. Okay. So then on here, you would just select how you want the client to receive the check. Sorry, their refund. You have the choice here: receive it as a check. And this, when you receive it here as a check, that means that under your work in progress screen, where you have checks available to print, you're going to be able to see that check that's available there after the funds have been dispersed by the IRS. Okay. If it's a direct deposit information, then you will select X on here. And you notice here it says client pass-through account. You will select the X on here also, so that way it can pass through under the client information that you entered under here, client data. You'll be able to select that, so that way the bank information that you entered here automatically gets transferred over also to the bank application on this part here. Okay. And then we have several choices where they want to receive a text message. There's also an email address. But very importantly, too, you have to go through this and make sure that the person understands that the refund, the preparation fees, or what amounts are going to come out of the refund. So you just select that, and then you would enter the taxpayer information, etc. Everything that's asking you here to enter. Okay. So that's how you would select it to set up for the bank product to be available for the bank product. Sorry, for the refund, for the prep fees and any fees to come out of the tax preparer's refunds, okay? And remember, they have a choice whether it's direct deposit or as a check to your office, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and close out of that. I'm just gonna go back to my area here. How do I make notes on a tax return? We'll just go right back to this one. You can go under notes, under this tab, under the menu bar, click notes, and you're gonna press new, and then you can write all the information that you want. You know, tax return, sorry, tax preparer is coming back. I don't know, something like that. Okay, you can write, and you can be very detailed notes. Okay, and you can take information and notes from like Excel or Word or Notepad, and take information that you have on there, maybe predisposed information that you already have, and you can take that information, copy it, and paste it on here also. Okay. Another one too to keep in mind is you can also go under add form, and if you go all the way down here to the bottom, there's a part here where it says IRS notes, prepare notes. So you can go ahead and click inside of this, and you can write a note on here, and those notes actually also get sent to the IRS. The one that we created here under this notes function, that's just something personal for you or within your office, okay? But under prepare notes, on the choice that I selected, IRS notes, that means the IRS is going to read the information that you have on there. If you have a special situation, I don't know, with divorced parents, or whatever the situation might be, you might want to write a detailed explanation to what that is, to provide that to the IRS. Okay, I'm going to close this, and then we go back to my questions. How do I create access levels and give permission to certain people? I think we discussed that, during the beginning part of it. So I think we're okay. If you have any questions, like I said, please follow up with us. Excuse me. How do I import documents to a tax return? We have that as well. We discussed it. That was during our document archive. Here, you just go to document archive, and then here we just select import. The import the doc is where you would import the information that you have from a scanner that's not one of the scanners that's integrated in our software. Okay. The next one is, how can I see the responses on my text message? This kind of get answered in two ways, because this is part of the What's New for 2016. How that pop-up is going to come up on the text messaging, so that will be available for us this year. And how do I set up my billing? The billing, and I'll talk about it in general. Okay, we'll go under setup, and we go under billing setup. Okay, the screen is going to pop up, and you go under forms billing. And you notice on here, there's all the forms that are on here, and then you can create your amount to how much you want to charge. I mean, this is just a generic one, but this is something more that the TSD support team and our onboarding team would help you with if you need help kind of creating or customizing billing according, to the needs of your business. Okay, and let's take a look. And that's it, guys. That wraps up our webinar. Here's all the contact information that you guys can definitely follow up on. This is my email address, eddie@tsdtaxpros.com. Again, I will review all the questions that were provided to me during the webinar, and I will follow up with you or your account executive to make sure that we've answered all your questions, or if you need any other kind of assistance at all in regards to your software. Okay. So let me just take a look. Somebody's asking where does the tax prep fees show up? So let me take a look at that. And just going to go to a tax return on here. We go under invoice and billing parts. Okay. This is the invoice for the client. This is where all the information would generate. Again, this is the demo version. So any itemized billing, any information that's entered on here, okay, of how the prep fees are going to come up, they're going to be available there for you to take a look and explain it to the client. Okay. And again, your manager, or if you are the manager, we can definitely follow up with you with a one-on-one to talk to you a little bit more about how to set up the invoicing or the billing, and talk to you a little bit about how you're going to create the billing setup in your software. Okay. So I think let me just kind of review all the questions again just to make sure. And I think the last one there was the one about billing. Okay. So the tax repair fees, that's where you would see it under the invoice and billing parts. But again, if you need help or additional help on that, please follow up with your account executive, or you can follow up with me through this email on here. Okay. And I'll be more than happy to assist you. Okay. So I think that, again, that wraps it up, guys. I thank you guys for joining us today. I hope this was helpful. And if you have any additional questions, please follow up with us. Happy holidays from all of us here at TSG, and I hope you guys have a happy and successful new tax year. Okay? Thank you so much.